How do you do? Storyteller here, back with another episode of Cinderella Phenomenon. And as you can see, I did survive my hiking trip. I'm happy about that. It was fun, but I did get very lost. But I'm back now, and I'm ready to play more of Cinderella Phenomenon. You really are a handful, but a delightful handful. His words keep repeating in my head. I cannot stop hearing his voice and feeling his lips on my hand. My face feels warm, and every time I think about his words, my heartbeat feels unsteady. I really have to stop thinking about that. Karma is karma, and he puts on that overly polite act with everyone. Not really. But then, I am pretty sure I've never seen him do anything like that with another person. That's what I mean, he's never done that. I'll just go downstairs and stop thinking about all of this. I need to tell Parfait and Delora what happened. Because of the time I'd returned to the Marchen yesterday, I never spoke to anyone about what happened. Maybe someone's downstairs, someone usually is. I leave my room and make my way downstairs to the reception. It's quiet when I enter, but not as silent as I thought it would be. Karma is sitting alone at one of the tables, speaking quietly with Parfait and Delora. His injured hand is sitting on the table, bandaged. I cannot help but stare at it, my heart plummeting. His injury is my fault. It can't be that bad. So, you have not yet to hear the entire story. No, I'm afraid I'm not quite privy to the information Waltz has. Is that correct? Waltz has been directly involved in this far longer than you have. What about Waltz? Princess, you're up early. They all turn to look at me as I stand at the table. Karma still looks tired and is not in his dress. He looks somber, but still smiles at me. Oh, that's right, he's not dressed as a girl. Story, how nice of you to join us. When did he start saying my name without my title? That's right, he did used to call us Princess. Story, Sorry, I'm getting their voices mixed up. Story, you've run into a lot of different mishaps this week, haven't you? I thought you'd be stubbornly avoiding work. Instead, you go out of your way to get yourself into trouble. This involves me directly. How should I not be curious? You've also been irresponsible, sneaking out without any of us knowing. I have the freedom to do whatever I want to, even when I even wore a cloak too. Oh no, the cloak, I left it at the bar. I feel a nudge at my arm and Karma is holding out my cloak with a tired smile. You went back to get this? When? Yesterday, when you were still in bed. There are 3 of them here. I can't do all of their voices at once. You've been running around, running yourself dry these last few days, Karma. He does seem really tired. It is nothing. Thank you. What's this? Our Ice Princess is thanking someone? Yeah, she never thanks anyone. Why is that something so strange? Oh, come on now, she's not so icy. Story has more fire than anything. She's filled with unbridled passion and confidence. Not so sure about that. Confidence that has gotten me nowhere so far. Don't look so dour, Story. You've become quite the accomplished woman. Karma gestures toward me and I flush, unsure of what he's talking about. Then I notice Delora's eyes are on me too. Oh, Parfait, do you see that? What are they looking at? I reach down to grab my necklace and then pause. I cannot stop the gasp that leaves my lips. When did this happen? Princess, you didn't realize there's an extra piece to your necklace. How did we get an extra piece? What did we do? Congratulations, Princess Story. You're a step closer to breaking your curse. I feel proud. I only ever felt this way around Mother. She did me great favor yesterday. If not for Story, I might have suffocated beneath a pile of very excited women. Wait, helping Karma escape was a good deed? She was selfless. He's not even mentioning the injury he got protecting me. Parfait and Delora are both smiling, but the cheerful mood does not last long. What were you all talking about when I came down? About your kidnapping. Well, kidnappings. Both of them. It looks like we have a serious problem on our hands. What do you know about this? What does Waltz know that I don't? Princess, it's more about what everyone else knows that you don't. What everyone else knows? I feel anger begin to simmer inside of me, even though he looks apologetic. He says it so casually. What are you all hiding from me? Let's gather everyone later, shall we? I think Waltz might want to be in here for this too. What does Waltz have to do with any of it? Be patient, Princess. You've already waited this long. What's another few hours? Fair enough. I have no choice but to agree with Parfait and Delora, refuse to say anything more, but I am not happy about it. I spend the rest of my time doing idle chores around the tavern. I do a round of sweeping with Mr. Broom and mindlessly organize some of the bottles. I cannot believe everyone knows something about me that I don't. But now I'll find out the entire story. Maybe it will answer some of the questions I have. But why are they keeping this about me a secret to begin with? Delora gathers everyone in the tavern to discuss the kidnappings. I decide to sit between Waltz and Karma. So, we have a story to tell. Uh-oh, what was his voice? Story time, huh? I don't suppose this would be a romance, would it? How can you stand there and make comments like that constantly? How can you stand to live a lie? The two glare at each other across the table, but Delora silences them. Delora starts with a story about the Great War, one that I've already heard so many times I can recite it myself. What does this have anything to do with me? Because of the fairy tales, witches like myself were punished for simply existing. Our leader, the Tenenbaum bearer, was a kind witch that was overtaken with grief that our people suffered. She was driven far into madness that she created the fairy tale curse to punish humans and make them suffer as the witches had. And when that wasn't enough, she committed the ultimate taboo. She killed a human. I tried to stop her, but by the time I thought to act, it was too late. Knowing that Delora and Parfait were involved in the Great War makes it seem more real. But wasn't the Tenenbaum bearer killed? How can the fairy tale curse continue to spread if she is dead? I believe that the Tenenbaum bearer sacrificed the last bit of her life to continue powering the Tenenbaum. All to ensure that the remaining witches could continue spreading the fairy tale curse. Is none of this ringing a bell for you? What are you talking about? She really did erase your memories. Erase? No way. The witch who died, the Tenenbaum bearer. She was your mother, Princess Story. What? Is that why fairy tales and stuff like that weren't allowed in the house? She was trying to keep it from Story? What? For some reason, I turn to look at Karma, who is one of the only people who doesn't look away from me. I grew up outside of this kingdom, but even I knew of the terrible witch Hildeyear. You expect me to believe any of this? She wasn't a witch. I would remember that. Well, you would if you had any memories of the war, and the years before that. Under Hilda's rule, the palace was a dark place. The king didn't have any real power until Hilda was defeated. That goes for the rest of us, too. We were slaves to Hilda. Delora's eyes flicker to Waltz. It's the truth. Waltz knows because he is also a witch. He's experienced Hilda's command over the witches firsthand as well. Walt is a witch? I told you, it's not just females. There can be male witches too. Sorry for keeping it a secret, Princess. It's not as if I can use much magic anymore anyway. Not when I'm cursed. Just another secret of many. Seems everyone is hiding something. Everyone was freed after Hilda's reign. Witches, fairies, and humans alike. The king was even able to marry Ophelia, the woman he always truly loved. So, he never actually loved the witch, did he? Oh, that's sad. So it has always been Ophelia that he truly loved. Was that the reason I never felt any love from him? Because I was my mother's daughter? He gave up on me. No, dear, I don't think he gave up on me. My voice is too loud in the reception area. I feel it crack beneath the pressure and suddenly I want to cry. But Mother told me so many times not to cry. The king gave up on me, but Mother didn't. Mother would tell me this was all a lie. She would tell me not to trust anyone. They must be lying. I turned to Karma. For some reason, I trust him more than I trust Delora or Parfait. Is this the truth? I was told the story of Hilda and her daughter's story. They said you were the picture of elegance, but that you shared your mother's icy nature. Ouch. But I don't think that is true at all. If Hilda was ice, then you most certainly are a warm fire. If my mother was a witch, then what does that make me? You're a witch as well, whether or not you were ever taught to use magic. On your upcoming birthday, you will become the Tenenbaum bearer. Do you realize how ridiculous this all sounds? Me, a witch? The king never said anything. And now I cannot even ask him if this is the truth because I'm cursed. Why would you even curse me? We didn't want a repeat of the tragedy story. I sat on your shelves for almost a year, Princess. There was ice in your heart and you had inherited the Tenenbaum in the state. Who knows what would have happened? Then why didn't you just tell me any of this? Delora and Parfait look at each other before dropping their gazes to the ground. If we had told you before, would you have even bothered to listen? The king must have tried to do the same thing, and look at how that turned out. You shut out everyone who has ever tried to tell you about Hilda's true nature. That is probably true. Even now I'm having trouble believing that they are telling me the truth. The whole world feels as if it's collapsing around me. I need to escape. I need to go out and be somewhere else, but why are the witches looking for me? You are the heir to the Tenenbaum. No doubt the evil witches want you on their side so they can continue wreaking havoc on Angiel with the fairy tale curse. The men that were looking for Story were not witches, though. They were knights. Perhaps the witches and knights are working together? That must be a part of Alcaster's scheme to steal the throne. What are you talking about? The reason why Garland and I left the Order of Caldera was because the king did not believe us about Alcaster's coup. He could have known that the princess's identity, though. Oh, how could he have known the princess's identity, though? Anyone who isn't a witch, a fairy, or cursed isn't able to remember her. But now we know that it is not just the witches that are looking for the princess, but the knights of the Order of Caldera as well. They definitely have a description of her from someone. Story. Karma reaches out my hand to touch my shoulder, and I flinch back before standing up. I cannot speak about this now. I want to be alone. Let her go. She needs time to think. Don't push Karma away. I leave everyone sitting at the tables as I try to process the whirling thoughts in my mind. Hilda, my mother, was the only person I ever thought loved me. Was the Tenenbaum bearer? A witch? The first witch to kill a human. The witch that started the fairy tale curse. All this time I thought Mother was the only one who cared, but what if she never did? I stay in my room for a long time, trying to process everything I have been told. That's another picture of karma, so we're definitely on the karma route. Days go by before I decide to leave the tavern again to watch karma practice with the knights. These last few days I've felt hollow. Maybe seeing the normal practices will make me feel better. Maybe it will make things feel like nothing's changed. When I arrive in the forest, however, only Karma is standing in the clearing. He's staring through the trees as if he sees something there, but his expression is solemn, almost sad. Eventually he sighs, shaking his head before turning in my direction. Story. I prepare myself for a response, but find no words come to mind. I have not spoken to Karma since the talk about mother and witches, and any ease I felt from him has slipped away. Still, I came here on my own, and I cannot just stand here and be mute. I say the first thing that comes to mind. Where are Jurian and Garland? I only train with Garland. Jurian is on patrol tonight. He'll be here later. I just came early. It seems you did too. Story, are you okay? I'm sorry I haven't been by to see you. It's not as if you owe that to me. I do not owe it to you, but I truly wanted to. I've been busy these last few days scouting a town for information. As much as I want you to come with me, why would you have wanted to pair up with someone like me anyway? My princess, that's because I'm bitter and cold, and even though I want to change, all I can think about is myself. But now I want to change, because I do not want to be the same as my mother. Isn't that selfish? Maybe so, but I believe you're also being selfish for the right reasons. An entirely selfless person can't survive in this world. Before we can make others happy, we must be happy ourselves. Happy ourselves? Yes, an angry person only holds resentment toward everyone, and it mars whatever good they seek to do. That is very true. I'm so glad we picked Karma. I mean, I plan to go through the game again and actually play through the other roles of the people. This is going to be a long playthrough, but I like Karma. He speaks a lot of sense. His views are very close to my own, because I'm so brilliant, obviously. This is why I cannot complete my good deeds. We did one. Yeah, wrong. You already got one. Recognizing the need for change is always a good thing, Story, regardless of the motivation. You are trying to become a better person, and that is what matters. He takes a step toward me, then he puts his hand on my shoulders and leans down until I can look right into his eyes. Karma's serious expression startles me as much as his touch. It is never too late for anyone to change. You taught me that. What? How could I have taught Karma anything? Do you mind if I tell you a story? Story. Story. That's funny. Save. Okay. Don't move. With his face so close, all I can do is stare right into his eyes. Karma's hands tighten on my shoulder for a few moments. I feel a slight panic rising in my chest. Then Karma steps away from me with a rough shake of his head. Karma? Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry, I want to make all the right decisions. Yes. I want to make all the right decisions to get the perfect ending. I take a step away from him and Karma's hands fall from my shoulders. He sighs out. The story better be as dramatic as mine. Thank you, Story. For what? That was the right decision! I'm bad at this. I know I'm bad at this, but I want to get the good ending, so I'm sorry if I go back and change the decisions I make. I just want to get the best possible outcome for everybody. For agreeing to listen, and for what you just did. Stepping away from him? Was I distracting him? Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a crown prince from a kingdom called Brugantia. Can we just have normal named kingdoms? Brugantia. Brigantia is one of the neighboring kingdoms, so this isn't make-believe. His name was Claude Edric Rinaldi Matthias Almont. But because the name was such a mouthful, he settled for an acronym as a nickname. Claude Edric Rinaldi Matthias Almont is K-A-R-M-A. Karma. Karma. That's why his name is Karma. This is awesome. Okay, sorry, I'll keep reading. He settled for an acronym as a nickname, at least around the palace where it was acceptable. Karma. Prince Claude was a man who flaunted his beauty and talents to all that he met. He often used his title to get what he wanted. Prince Claude was a selfish man who felt he was entitled to everything that he had. He was vain and often left his castle unattended so that he could avoid his responsibilities. Then one day, he chanced upon a beautiful maiden in a town square. He led her around the whole day, being as charming as he could possibly be. And then, at the end of the day, he asked the woman to be his lover. She agreed, but their time together did not last long. Only weeks later, Prince Claude threw her away, as one throws away an object, and broke the woman's heart. And she cursed him. Oh. That beautiful woman was a witch, but Prince Claude found out too late. The witch said she would make his beauty, his vanity, a curse. To make even beauty a curse. Ashamed of being cursed, Prince Claude donned a disguise and left his kingdom behind. He has been gone for nearly a year now, and most probably assumed that he is dead. But in truth, the prince had come to Angiel seeking a way to break his curse. He had heard of a young lady named Story who, on her 18th birthday, could dispel any curse. Karma came here to meet me so that when I turned 18, I would break his curse. Karma met me so he could break his curse, and then I go and get myself cursed for being cold-hearted and cruel. That's so sad. Karma. I was literally his only hope for breaking his curse. In his mind, at least. At least in his mind, I was his only way to break the curse. And now I'm cursed, and I can't break his curse. He looks so sad, I don't know how to comfort him. Claude. Oh, his name is changed to Claude now. Karma Claude turns a startling red as he stares at me, and for a few moments he does not speak. Then he bursts out laughing. I stare at him in shock, not understanding his reaction. I feel myself flush. Isn't that your real name? No, darling, it is, but hearing you say my name, well, it sounds so much softer out of your lips. I rather like it. My cheeks are warm again. How is it that he always makes me feel this way? I will call you by that name if it makes you so happy. Let us make it a secret between the two of us. I am still Miss Karma here. Besides, I rather kept that name for my ears only. It makes me feel more special that way. Okay. More special? At that moment, of course Garland shows up for practice, and Claude politely excuses himself. I watch the two of them trade blows. Claude favors his other hand, but his blows still come quickly, even with his injury. The more Claude tells me, the more I realize he's like me, a noble curse for being selfish. But how do I help break his curse? Why can't he tell me? As practice is drawing to a close, Claude asks Garland the usual question. Have you confessed to Jurian yet? Garland only shakes his head in reply. The two men sheath their swords, and Garland looks almost sad as he turns to make his way back to the tavern. He likes her, and yet he won't say anything. Why is that? Why is that frustrating me so much? Garland. Yes, princess? Save. You have to tell Jurian. Well, it is nothing, but we have to tell Jurian. Klaude told me before that confessing is hard, but what Garland is going through looks even harder. Princess, you know I am incapable. No, you think you're incapable, but if you never say anything to her, you'll never know. If I say something wrong, I risk losing everything I already have with her. That is true. That is true. And if you say nothing, you'll risk losing what you could have with her. Oh, look at that! That was the right thing to do! Yay! I finally made a right decision on my own for once. Story is right. Maybe you should really tell her, Garland. But before Klaude was adamant that Garland shouldn't confess to Jurian, what changed? I don't know. If I mess this up, let's try not to look at it. Let's try looking at it through another lens. Imagine that Jurian is Story. Uh-oh. How do you think she would like to be confessed to? I frown at the two men, arms crossed. Are they practicing on me? That's kind of funny. Excuse me? Well, you and Jurian are very similar. You're both very straightforward. That is true. Confess to the princess? My eyes move to Klaude, but only fleetingly before they are once again on Garland. You just need to do something simple, Garland. Something that will not rub her the wrong way. A maiden's heart is ever fragile, and each woman is different. Klaude is wearing an amused smile on his face, but he's looking at me, not Garland. I feel my face flush, and I have to look away. Story, you're tomato red again. It's adorable. I cross my arms over my rapidly beating heart again and force a scowl on my face. No, I was just thinking about what Garland could do. Something simple, like when Karma kissed my hand. Garland kissing Jurian's hand is probably not a good idea. Maybe he could do what Klaude did, Klaude and I did that one day in town. He can buy her some food and they can just talk. Garland, have you ever just tried asking Jurian out for food? Not alone. Jurian is practical and she always eats at the tavern. She's also always on duty if she's available. I'll take her patrol shift 2 nights from now. Then, and tomorrow you can ask her out for a meal. We can make your invite a grand affair. We can drape banners on the walls, or I could give you a rose. That sounds like a terrible idea. I am offended. It did sound like a terrible idea. I feel like if I did something like that for Jurian, she would get embarrassed and punch me. She would. Sounds like another lady I know. Klaude grins at me, but I just roll my eyes. Garland, just ask her normally, and then when you're out and alone together, you can confess. And we'll make sure you'll have time to do it. I'll purposely come late to practice tomorrow night so you can ask her out for that date. How does that sound? You two really think I can do this? You just have to ask the question. Whatever follows will at least be an answer. Tomorrow night, then. Good man. I'm sure it'll go swimmingly. Or I could drown. That was funny. You won't drown, Garland. Garland excuses himself with a nervous smile before Klaude turns to me expectingly with a mischievous grin. Now, Story, we'll come here early tomorrow and spy on them. We need to scope out a good spot. Spy on them? Of course, we need to make sure our efforts pay off. I don't think we should. You don't want to see how it plays out? I mutely No, I do. I'll spy on them. Unable to put my emotions into words. For some reason, I imagine myself in Jurian's position. It feels too personal. Klaude's likeliness suddenly springs to mind, and I feel my face grow red hot again. I don't think it said red. I think I made that word up. Story, you've been oddly out of it today. Klaude reaches out a hand toward me, then abruptly pulls away. I stare as he smiles at me almost sheepishly. The conversation between us dies and we return to the margin. Oh, strange. Days pass, and though I did not spy on the conversation between Jurian and Garland, I noticed that Garland has been smiling from ear to ear during his practice with Klaude recently. I can only assume his conversation went well. Klaude took the pastoral shift last night, and as I lie in bed I am restless. Every time I watch Klaude practice with Jurian and Garland, I am reminded of the palace of Fritz. I wonder how Fritz is doing. Is he still practicing with the other knights? My thoughts darken as I recall the kidnappings. Klaude had to save me every single time. He got injured saving me. I'm still confused. I'm not ready to call him Klaude. He actually has a name. And Karma finally makes sense. Why was he called Karma? It's an acronym. That's so cool. Unable to sleep, I slip out of bed and make my way to the reception room. The night air is cool and no one stops me from standing outside of the margin. I cannot sit back and do nothing. I have to act. I do not want Klaude to get hurt because of me again. Eventually I see Klaude approach. He looks tired and is moving more slowly than usual, but when he sees me his lips quirk into a smile. Story, what are you doing out here tonight, love? Love instead of darling? That's new. Hello, Klaude. His face is dark red again. I couldn't tell if he was upset by that or happy by that. If you're using my real name, I suppose you've come back to ask me something serious. How can you know that? I do need to ask something of you. Well, if you need a shoulder to cry on, I'm right here, love. Love? He keeps saying that. What? Oh, this is not about... never mind. I'm asking if you will be my instructor. For some reason, I have caught Klaude off guard. He stares at me for a few moments. What? I want to learn how to use the sword, and I want you to be my instructor. Klaude's expression becomes uncharacteristically serious. I'd rather you didn't learn how to use a sword. I don't want you to have to keep protecting me. I don't mind protecting you. I do. Klaude sighs and shakes his head. Princesses shouldn't be using swords. I want to be able to stand on my own 2 feet. You are. I don't want you to get hurt again when I could do something about it. Oh, teach me, please, Klaude. Once again he flushes. It seems to be an instant reaction, and it is both amusing and endearing. It won't be easy. I wasn't expecting it to be. Klaude stares at me for a long time before I finally let out a heavy sigh. Or he lets out a heavy sigh. Fine, I'll train you. You won't learn in a day, but I can teach you the essentials. You can use one of the knight's training swords. Thank you. Music to my ears. Meet me in the clearing in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? What? You said you wanted to train, so we will. Don't expect me to go easy on you. But aren't you tired? He looks exhausted when he came in, and now he wants to train. Already trying to get out of training? I'm not. Klaude shakes his head, but he's smiling. I'll see you there in a few minutes, love. Okay, gonna save. Okay, I think we're gonna leave it off here. This has been a really interesting episode. We got one of the pieces of the necklace thing, which means we're on our way to breaking our curse. Klaude and Story are getting very close, and she's going to learn how to use a sword. So, yay! Lots of interesting happenings going on, and each episode seems to surprise me a little bit more, like things I don't expect keep happening, and I love it. And I'm definitely going to play through the rest of these stories, but honestly, I don't think any of them are going to be even half as good as this story with Karma, because I love Karma now. I wasn't sure about him/her in the beginning, but Karma's pretty awesome. So, anyway, before I ramble on any longer, we'll end the episode here. So, Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!